guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, which you probably are, I am 20 weeks pregnant with our little girl, and I also have two little boys, James, who just turned 3 last December, and Jackson, who's sitting underneath me, who will be 1 on Valentine's Day, who are going to be sitting here making lots and lots of noise, and you can probably hear the TV, so I apologize for that. But we're gonna jump right into the video. I think this is how I did it last time, where I talked about development of the baby and then I went into my symptoms. So I think that's the way we're gonna do it. If I didn't do it that way last time, we're gonna switch it up this time. So I use the Ovia pregnancy app. I just really like that one. I don't know why. I think it's because they have like the community on there where you can talk to people. I don't know. When I get bored, I like to go on there and do like the polls and stuff. But according to that app, this week baby girl is the size of a Belgian endive. I'll spell it out for you guys because I'm probably not saying it right, but I don't really know what that is, and the picture kind of looks like a corn stalk. Maybe insert a picture, maybe not, but in comparison to that would be 10 inches. And that seems like it's so much bigger than last time, but I guess like before they measure them from like head to butt because they're so like scrunched in there, and now they stretch out so they can, hello Jackson. Now they can measure from head to feet because baby is stretching out so much more. But also because of that, it also says that you could maybe possibly feel the baby now up in your lungs. And hello James. We're gonna talk about Sissy?
Yeah.
I just don't really feel that. I don't feel like she's that high yet. But I definitely feel her higher up, like a lot above my belly button and in my sides, but not quite up into my lungs yet. But I'm definitely expecting to feel that very soon. Obviously I've had 2 boys, so I definitely know it's coming. But also the app says, I'm also going to look down because I have it all wrote down, because I still haven't got my SD card for my camera, so I have to write everything down because I film on my phone. So I apologize for looking down. And I think this was happening before now, but it's just now that I'm like gonna put it in this video where this says the baby is practicing like breathing, and they're breathing out the amniotic fluid, but they're also starting to drink it. So the baby is also producing the meconium that they're going to. If you're a first-time mom and you're watching this video because you're pregnant, or you're just like these type of videos, or you're just curious and you don't know what meconium is, or you didn't know what this was called, meconium is the baby's first poop they will have after they're born, which is like tar and black and sticky and very disgusting, but it's really just the first one that looks like that. But also something really neat that I thought was super cool, so if you have a boy right about now, which obviously because you can see on the ultrasound, at your 20-week ultrasound, they would have like their testicles and everything. But since I'm having a girl, she now has eggs in her ovaries. So I'm taking a lot of pauses in this video because I looked over and I'd given James a marker to draw on a balloon with from our party last weekend just to keep him occupied, and instead he decided he wanted his brother to be green. So now everyone's getting a bath. It's okay. Moving on. Baby is starting to sprout teeth under their gums, which is really neat to think that they're already starting to get those teeth in, and then several months from now she will have her teeth. And that'll be really, really fun experience to go through. My first son did not prepare me for teething. I didn't even know he was teething until like tooth would like pop through and be like, oh, he has a teeth. I don't see any people say teething is so bad. He doesn't cry, he's not fussing, teeth just pop up. And before I know it, he had a mouthful of teeth, and I never dealt with teething. And Jackson's not that way. He cries for weeks and doesn't sleep, and it's awful. When he was like 4 months old, I remember sitting and like holding him for like hours to like soothe him, because he would get like 2 teeth at a time. And he teased that way, where he gets 2 at a time every single time. I also want to apologize really quick. So I have allergies really bad when I'm pregnant, but particularly from like dairy, and I decided this morning for some reason I should drink a cup of milk, and instantly my sinuses started to run. And not everybody gets that one, like if they have issues with dairy. Usually you think lactose intolerance, you think of the really gross lactose intolerance, but my sinuses run horrifically if I have too much dairy, or sometimes if my allergies are just more spiked at that time, like in the winter. So I sound probably way more nasally than I usually do, and I'm really, really sorry. So moving on to what's going on with me personally, I feel like a little bit more has happened in the last week than there was last week. Particularly, I feel like a lot of stuff happens at night. I notice this pretty much all day, but I feel like really when I'm laying down at night it's happened. I get like such bad heart palpitations. And I know that's really common in pregnancy because I had it in my last one, but they are so intense. Like I can just feel it all over my whole body, my heart just like pounding. And it gives me like the worst anxiety to have that feeling. Like the feeling of your heart like racing and you can feel it beating like around your body, like gives me like the worst anxiety. And then in turn it adds to like my restlessness, and I don't sleep, and it's really awful. But also, so I'm going to talk about everything that happens at night, and then I'll get to the really bad symptom. So also the thing that gets really worse at night is I get really bad Braxton Hicks, and I feel like I'm getting them even more during the day now. And with Jackson, I had them all the time too, so I'm not like concerned, because I feel like that's just really common for me. But sorry, my hair is like a staticky mess, and it's just really bugging the crap out of me today. But I just have really bad, especially at night, I have really bad Braxton Hicks. When I lay there, my whole stomach is so hard and tight, and it kind of has almost like a gross feeling to it on top of the heart palpitations, and I lay there just like intensely uncomfortable, and so I still can't sleep like the entire night. I don't know if I mentioned this in my last video, but I do have like a giant body pillow I sleep on now that Tristan had bought me, and it does help a little bit to like ease some of like the pressure on my hips and everything to sleep, but it just doesn't always like fix some of that stuff, you know? Like you can get as comfortable as possible when you're pregnant, especially this point on. I feel like you can get as comfortable as you want to be. Not want to be, you get as comfortable as you can, but you're not going to be as comfortable as you would be if you weren't pregnant. I'm also feeling extremely winded and dizzy all the time. And I know that you get winded a lot in pregnancy anyways, because things just wear you out easier, but I could like stand up from the couch, walk across the room and back, and feel like I just ran a marathon. And that's total exaggeration, but you get what I mean, that I'm so incredibly winded for that. And then like I'm so dizzy all the time, and I feel like that is like probably a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm anemic and I'm not taking like iron pills, and my diet is honestly really, really crap, which I want to change. Because I think if I ate better, I would just feel better. And I think, not that I eat completely horrible, I think I just need to eat better, and maybe I'd feel better, and maybe start getting back on in the habit of taking an iron pill, and maybe I wouldn't be so dizzy all the time. But it also could be the fact that I usually, and even more so in pregnancy, have lower blood pressure. When you have lower blood pressure, you stand up too fast, you get dizzy, you stand too long, you get really dizzy, and you see the stars. That's really common, but I feel like it's just so exaggerated when I'm pregnant. Something else I've noticed, and this isn't the really bad symptom. So I did spot with Jackson. I never spotted with James, like, at all. I never had any blood show up with James. But with Jackson, I think it was maybe around this time or a little bit after when I started to spot with him. And I spotted with him. And the thing is, I would like call my doctor's office, and they're not a good doctor's office. It's because they take my insurance. That's why I go there. But they would kind of just blow me off and be like, oh, well, it's probably just because you have an irritated uterus. You're probably not drinking enough water. They never checked me. They never did anything. They never. But it started off as just a little bit of blood to like a toilet paper of blood, where they would still tell me that I was fine, and they would never look at me or tell me to come in. And I've started that now, where I'm having just a little bit of blood, and it's either like old dark blood or like pink or a little bit of red, and it's not like an aggressive amount. Like, it's only if I wipe, and I feel like I always look to make sure, because I've bled before, so I want to make sure there's nothing there. And there's usually some type of old blood or a little tiny bit of like pink. And my 20-week doctor's appointment is next Wednesday, the 6th. So I don't want to call and talk to them about that, because they'll blow me off. I've called one time because I've fallen in my last pregnancy, and as you can see, he's been drawn on by his brother, and he has Cheeto all over his face. But I fell one time in my last pregnancy, and the receptionist was really rude to me, left me on hold for 20 minutes, and I never received a call back. She was really hateful, and they completely blew me off. So I'd rather, if I'm honestly gonna have an issue, I'd rather just go to the ER or talk to them about an issue I'm having in person, because I feel like if I tell the actual doctor, I don't get blown off. But if I call and talk to a receptionist, I don't get a call back, or if I talk to a nurse, they don't give a crap and they don't care. But I feel like if I bring it up to a doctor, they don't blow me off. So maybe it's just an issue with the receptionist at this particular doctor's office. But so I feel like I would just bring it up to her then. And I'm not really super concerned about it, because I had it with Jackson, and maybe it really is like I actually completely forgot what I was saying, because James came over here and started shaking his butt at me because he thinks he's like funny, and I completely forgot. We were talking about so I'm not like completely concerned about it, because I had it with Jackson. It could totally be that I just have an irritated uterus from not drinking enough like water, or the fact that I had to pick up my very heavy 1-year-old. He is like heavier than like a lot of 1-year-olds. He's a little bit bigger for his age, and obviously I can't avoid picking him up all the time, but I can avoid picking up James. So maybe it's that, but I am still, I hope the trash truck doesn't pull in here, because they'd be really loud. I am high risk, so I feel like it was more blood, I'd be really concerned because I am high risk, but I feel like it could just be like Jackson and eventually get a little bit worse. I don't know. But something I'll probably mention next week when I go to the doctor. But the symptom that I was saying earlier that was like kind of like the bad symptom, and it's not really a bad symptom, it's the most irritating symptom, is the itching. And I talked about this in my last video, my 19-week update, where I talked about like how on my thighs and like my legs itch so bad. I'm starting to get it on my stomach, and I know it's really common for it to itch on your stomach. And the thing is, on my belly, I get like these, it's almost like a rash breaks out, and it's not like a big rash. It's like if I feel on it and touch it, I can feel the little bumps, but like if I look, you couldn't see them, and that really itches. But on my thighs and on my like the back of my legs, like on my calf, there's like no rash, and it just itches profusely. And it's honestly probably fine. Like, I think itching is really common in pregnancy, and they'll probably tell me that I have like I can't pronounce this right, but I'll put it down so you guys can see it. It's like Prurigo of pregnancy. I don't think I have a pups rash, because pups rash will show up like in your stretch marks, and I have stretch marks, but not on my stomach. They're like almost on my back where my skin stretched when I was pregnant with James. But I don't think it's a pups rash. I don't even know if it could just be that my skin's really irritated and just itchy and dry, but it doesn't seem like it's dry, so I don't know. probably just a very common normal pregnancy symptom, but it is super, super, super agitating. And then the last thing that happened in my 20th week would be that. Let me flip my page over. I don't really need it flipped over because I guess I don't need it for that. But, so this is actually kind of a story. So, I couldn't tell you what day this happened on, but it was a couple of days ago where we had been out all day doing stuff, and we had come home. I was getting ready to lay Jackson down in his bed because he was kind of fussy, and we thought maybe, oh, he just needs to take a nap now because we've been out all day. And as I'm carrying him kind of flipped out, so like he's facing out when I'm carrying him. I get into like the door of his room, and he just starts vomiting and vomiting everywhere. And I sat him on the floor next to me, and he's still puking. And we're like, awesome. Because we just had the stomach bug when I was 12 weeks pregnant. And that really wasn't that long ago. So for us to get it again, we were like, great. But then we had went out to eat earlier that day. This actually might have been like Sunday. We had went to this like pizza place in like the next town over, and they have calamari there. We were like, oh, well, he did eat some of it, so we're like, maybe that just didn't sit well with him, not something we should give him, so he's just throwing up. And then he slept like the rest of the night. This was like 5:30 in the afternoon. He probably slept for a couple hours, got up right before bedtime, and then he was still fussy, so he went back to bed all night. And he didn't get up until like the next morning, and it's kind of odd for him because usually he still wakes up a little bit through the night. Not because he needs anything, but because he wants me to hand him the bottle, not because he really needs me to hand him. He just wants me to come and give it to him. But, so we're like, great. And then he was fine the next day. So the night, I think it was Monday night, where I felt really sick. Like, I had Braxton Hicks, and my stomach felt really gross. But I was really nauseous, and it was just, like, really awful. But I ended up taking a shower and, like, going to bed, and I never threw up, and it passed. And I felt like I felt better. And then... So yeah, Tuesday, I have this right, so Tuesday, I was fine for most of the day, and then towards the end of the day, I started to feel really sick, started to feel like I needed to throw up, and there was so much pressure on, like, the top of my stomach. I felt really dizzy and exhausted. You know when you're sick, and you just feel like really weak? I felt like that. And we were going around to look at cars. Shocker, we bought a new car. Woo. But we didn't buy it this day. So we were looking at new cars for Tristan. And we had went to like Starbucks, and I love their cake pops. I didn't get to enjoy the cake pop and everything. And we're driving like down the road, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna throw up. And he kept asking me if we needed to go home, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna throw up. I'm gonna be fine. He pulls a bag out, and then sure enough, I just start going. And when I puke, I don't know if anybody else like this, but when I have to puke, I will puke until I'm dry heaving and I don't have anything left to throw up in my stomach. So I threw everything up, and then I was like, oh, I feel better now. So whatever is in my stomach probably just didn't agree with me, and I just need to get it out. So I ate my cake pops and my Starbucks. I was like, oh, I'm better now, I'm fine. We get home a little bit later, and it's probably like an hour later. I'm gonna go ahead and apologize for the choppiness of this video. Probably for like the millionth time, but it's just gonna be awful. I've had to stop and go so many times. It's just been a long morning. But, so we had gotten home, and I was like, yeah, I'm starting to not feel good again. Like, at all. I felt super exhausted, dizzy again, all week, kind of clammy, and like my stomach felt really gross. So I just went into the bathroom, and then again, I just went, and I'll go until like I'm dry heaving, nothing is in there, and it was really awful. So Tristan was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Walmart, and he got me some chicken broth. This is gonna sound really gross, but I really like chicken broth, and I was like, well, maybe if I just drink liquids. So he got me that and some Sprite. He was gone for a little bit because he got a few things. I decided, he took James with him, and I just sat on the couch and like chilled with Jackson, and then he came home, and I had my little bit of Sprite and chicken broth, and that didn't even set well. I couldn't drink water or anything. I would vomit it back up. And it was so awful, guys. It was beyond awful. And here's the thing. This is my third baby, and there's obviously some pressure on my bladder just in general. But I obviously have some weaker, like, continence issues because I've had 2 babies already. So when I'm puking like that and it's a strong throw up and I'm dry heaving, I'll like pee myself while I'm doing it. So like I'm vomiting and peeing, and it was really disgusting and awful, and I didn't even get like the chance to put like the toilet seat out. It just went everywhere. It was really gross. It was a long night. When I finally got this, I didn't sleep all that night either. The next day I woke up, which was Wednesday, which is yesterday, and I felt fine. I was like, yep, great, I'm fine. Ended up snowing. The Tristan didn't go to work because he doesn't like to drive on the roads here when they're really snowy, because they do the main roads but they don't do the side roads here. And we ended up going to Arkansas to look at a car, and then we got going and he's like, yep, now I'm sick. And so last night he was also sick, so I was taking care of him all night. So I'm hoping James doesn't get it next. We just have the stomach bug running through our house. So we've just had the stomach bug running like rampant through our house. So, but I think that's everything. My bump shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and show my belly to you guys. So I'm in a really cramped area, so ignore this mess down here. My kids have had a fun morning, but I hope you guys can see at the light too. So this is like my left side. I definitely feel like she's getting bigger. A lot of clothes I just bought no longer fit. I don't think you'll be able to see the front because the light right here is like super bright. But it's the front. And then this. I promise I'm not this pale, guys. But my window is right here and is super, super bright. So you'll probably won't be able to see much of that. But that was my 20-week belly. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. I do pregnancy videos every Friday and just other videos Mondays and Wednesdays. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.